Hey guys, it's me, the Savvy Business Chick, helping you with whatever you need for your business. Today we're going to be talking about how to attract your ideal client or customer. So come on in. I'm live. It's Monday. Hey, how you doing? Hey, thanks for joining. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. And tell somebody that we're here. Hey, home doctor. Hey, D Great underscore GH. So today, guys, I am going to be sharing with you a secret that the experts use to do market research, to find your ideal client or customer. This is also going to help you with your target audience. And if you don't know what that means, then have you done a Facebook ad before? Have you done an Instagram ad before? Have you done any ads? If you've done any ads, then you know that you really should be you should be identifying your target audience so that you can maximize your money that you're spending on your ads so that they can convert into sales, so that your ad is reaching the right people. Thank you so much. So today I am going to share with you, I hope I get to these 4 things, actually 5 things that you need to do to identify your ideal client or customer. Again, today I'm hoping to get to these 5 things that you can do to identify your client or customer. If you have any questions, please feel free to put a comment, leave a comment, and sorry, it was telling me something. To leave a comment, let me know if you have ever done this activity before. Tell me, thanks for joining. Let me know if you've ever learned about how you can attract your ideal client or customer. And if some of these things are making sense as we go along, then you can also comment them. Let me tell you guys what the title is: how to attract your ideal client, customer, or even lead. And a lead means something like could be like your referral source. Let me turn this light off. I want to show you guys something on my screen. And this is from a training that I did with a group of aspiring entrepreneurs. And this is how I got them to learn how to do marketing for their business. This is how I got them to create products and services for their business. Whether you want to create like specials, every seasonally or whatever, this is how you can do that. So first thing I want you to do, and this is a mindset activity, and this is like my little secret sauce that I do. So like I said, if you've ever heard of this training before, it is definitely what the experts do to attract your ideal client or customer. First, I want you guys to do this. I have like a piece of paper. It's like actually a big piece of paper, so hopefully you'll be able to see this. Thank you so much for the badge, Steven. Okay, so this is what I want you guys to do. So it's looking like it's coming up backwards. But if you're near some paper now, I want you to go get some paper, and I want you to write down, take a sheet of paper, and on 2 sides of the paper. One side I want you to write down, what kind of client do I want? Other side I want you to write down, what kind of client do I not want? Like I said, this is a mindset activity that I want you guys to do before we even get started. Most people, we're so excited to get some kind of business that when you're first starting out, you're like, I'll take anybody. But don't you know that everybody is not your client? Everybody is not your ideal client. So when you're doing this activity, I want you to take a moment and first start with who you don't want. And that is important because you want to eliminate who you don't want to work with. So say, for example, you don't want to work with clients who are difficult to please. Then you want to put that on your list here. Say if you don't want to work with clients who don't want to pay your prices. You want to put that on your list. And that's just an example. A last example I'll give you. You don't want to work with clients who don't respect you or your time. Then you want to put that on your list. And so you want to write those things down, and underneath the column, what kind of clients I do not want. So I'll give you guys 30 seconds before I move on, just in case you are taking notes right now and you are actually doing that activity. And if you have an iPhone, then use your note section and just make one note for what kind of clients do I not want, and then the next second note for what kind of clients do I want. Okay? So I'm going to wait 30 seconds. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. You guys are familiar with Jeopardy? Do, 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 do. Okay, not sure if that's quite 30 seconds, but that's the end of the song. So, next you want to write down what kind of clients do I want. Now, depending on what kind of business you have, and if you guys can post in the comments what kind of business you have, and I can give you some better ideas. For this example right now, I'm going to use home care as one example of a business, and then I'm going to use maybe like someone who has like a gym or does fitness service. So thanks for the fist. So if you have a home care agency, what kind of clients do I want? I want clients who feel relieved they feel relieved by my services, by my business. You want to work with clients who, again, think your prices are great. So kind of like the opposite of what we just said with what we don't want. Okay, so for the fitness or gym kind of client, you want to work with clients who are willing to put in the work. You want to work with clients who appreciate your method of coaching or your method of training. So guess what? We're just putting that out there because I'm a strong believer if you have not because you don't ask. And have I had some difficult clients before? Yes. But that was probably because at the time I'm like you. Hey Crystal, thanks for joining. When I started out, I just wanted, to get the clients in, and I definitely was not being selective. But as I moved on, I learned that I only want a certain kind of client. And there's a guy on YouTube, his name is Dan Locke. I'm not advertising him, but he has some good stuff. And one thing that he shared that I really thought was really unique was at the beginning of his career doing copywriting, he kept really high prices, number one. Number two, he did not negotiate on his worth. And number three, he basically let people know he was busy, even if he only had like 2 clients that he was serving. He kept himself he kept he presented that his business was full, so that people wanted to get on his waiting list. They wanted to work with him because he presented that. And that's like his structure for being one of the highest paid consultants out here. Okay, so next to the actual, I'll say training for how to attract your ideal client or customer, I have a workbook that I created. Thank you so much for the hearts. I have a workbook that I created when I train these aspiring female entrepreneurs. And these worksheets are they're in this workbook where it's a video and the worksheets, and you basically create these people who would be your ideal client or customer. And I'm going to show you what that looks like in a second. So this tip that the experts use, guys, is that they actually create a real person. And this really helps with marketing. This really helps with sales. This really helps with creating a niche. This really helps with identifying who is the best fit for your products and services, and essentially for your business. So you give that person, you basically, you ask yourself this question first: what does my ideal target look like? So why is that important? What does my ideal client or my target audience look like? Now, let's say you have a hair product and you have, someone who has natural hair, but your hair product is for straight hair. Then that's important. What if you're in the home care industry and your ideal client looks like a senior citizen? Then you need to have this visualization. And it also, like I said, this may not seem like this is helpful, but to identify what they look like, guys, will help you with creating your social media posts, with your sales pages, with doing your market research. Okay, so then once you identify what this person looks like, because looks like and age will probably go hand in hand. Then what you're doing now is you're saying, okay, not that this age group or other group doesn't matter, but this is my focus. What is your ideal client? So Cass _Andre, you have to let me know what your business is, because I'm giving examples right now. My example right now is like, say for example, home care. So in the home care industry, let's say your ideal client, if you want to have a private paying client, is a senior woman who has she has long-term care insurance. Let me show you guys what this is. Let me show you. This is one example. Okay, so this is a client avatar. This is a part of the workbook, right? So name. You giving that person a name, their age, they have some college, single, she has no kids, she makes anywhere from $50,000 to $80,000 a year. She works in corporate America. This is considered her pain points: burden or desire to change, interested in professional development opportunities. Okay. So let me explain. I'm not going to do a full training as if this was like a Zoom where we can put people on live and really get some good questions. But if you have a question, please do drop it in the comments. Okay, so I showed you an example of a client avatar whose name is Crystal. So this is for someone who is doing like a resume writer. That is like a client avatar for a resume writer. What makes Crystal an ideal client for a resume writer? Well, her age is that she is in the in she's in the corporate America. She has a desire to change. So all of these, I don't want it to sound too complicated, but all of these things would make her want to get a new resume, right? Because she has a desire to change. She wants to go up the corporate ladder. She's single, so she can, make some moves without having to consult, a spouse, a mate. She doesn't have any children, so she can, maybe pick up and relocate, or she can work like a job that maybe require a lot from her. The workbook is I have to send you guys the link. I'll post it in my stories. The workbook, like I said, that's from a previous training, and it includes the previous video I did, completely explaining how to do these client avatars, and they work for individual clients as well as they work for if you're marketing to a business. If you ever heard of B2B, business to business, they work for both. And I'm going to show you the example. But to answer Stephen's question, if you being able to, see, Cassandra says, being able to sell and market yourself based off clients' needs, the actual work and effort you can do. Yes. So this is pulling information, and then, like I said, so let's say you have, I'm still using the example as a resume writer, guys, right? So you're saying Crystal, in this example, represents your ideal client. So you're saying, if I do this activity, and I don't want to be skipping all over the place, she or he or the company represents my ideal client or customer. So then once you break that down, then what you do, thanks for joining, is you market to 50. You say, okay, I want 50 crystals. And let's say you have a product, because my one of my questions is, what do you have for Crystal to buy? So what the experts do is they treat it like a real person. Why? Because when you're doing if you've been doing your marketing or market research, like just without a client in mind, you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. You kind of need to picture that client in your mind so that you can know how to serve him or her. Thank you so much for the hearts. So you know that Crystal's burning desire is to change. She is fed up. That was her pain point. Have you guys ever heard of pain points before? And like I said, if you're just joining, drop your industry, drop your business name, or even your side hustle in the comments, and I can make this example more clear. So she has a burning desire to change. So let's say, for example, you are this resume writer and you're marketing to Crystal. Are you then even your social media post or your advertisement starts to speak directly to her or other clients like her. So that's why it's really important to target. So first you're attracting. That's the first step. You're attracting other crystals. Then you target other crystals. First step is attract. A picture a magnet. You're attracting her. You're attracting other crystals with your language. And the temptation, and I'm really sticking on crystal, the temptation is to mix a crystal and a mark. And I want somebody to hear this for whatever business they have. Okay, you're a branded coach for female entrepreneurs who want to build high valuable brands. Okay, thanks for your comment. Have you ever done a client avatar before? Because you're a branding coach. So let's say Crystal is your ideal client. Did you see this example? Crystal, she's in her late 20s, early 30s. She has some college. She's single. She has kids. She doesn't have kids. She has an income of almost $80,000. Okay. So I want to stop there real quick. When you're looking at these different sections, even that, me showing you guys that Crystal has an income level of $80,000. Cool. You've done your ideal client profile before. Cool. Do you feel clear on that? Do you this is an activity for me. I do at least twice a year. Especially if I'm introducing a new product. So, say for example, let's say Crystal makes $80,000 a year. Then you have a product. You can say, hey, she can afford it. She can afford my product. She can afford my services. Okay. She has a burning desire to change, desiring advancement, interest in professional development. So I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right. Alice Creation. Sorry, my top keeps drooping. You are a branding coach. Guess what? Hey, thanks for joining. Crystal, she's in corporate America, right? So she may not be your ideal client because she's in corporate America and you're working with female entrepreneurs. But what if you could share with a client prototype like Crystal how to come up with a personal brand for their industry? A lot of people don't know, they're not really familiar with personal brands and how it can help you in your career and your profession. And, I always say, develop a 6-figure personal brand on LinkedIn. I have some tips where I share with people how to do that. I'll make sure I didn't miss any questions. So please forgive me if I'm skipping all over the place, guys. I want to make sure I'm very clear that you're breaking down your ideal client, whether it be a female or a male. So and you want to do multiple. You want to do multiple because the same thing that attracts your female ideal client is not going to attract your male ideal client. Okay? I'm going to repeat that. What attracts your female ideal client is not going to attract your male ideal client. And you need, this is putting in the work. You're putting in the work to gather this information. A lot of people do a poor job with market research. Even me, before I really understood what the benefit was from market research, I did a very poor job. When I started really understanding what to do with my market research, then I got a lot better with attracting my ideal client or customer. Okay, so for any guys up here, I don't want to jump around, but I just want to show you here is what one of the male sorry if my screen is blurry. Okay, this is some of the stuff in the workbook that Stephen asked. That workbook right now it's on sale for $15, $14.97, and it is multiple worksheets. This is an old evergreen training I did. And it's the workbook with the worksheets, and for a female client avatar, a male client avatar, and a business client avatar. And I'll show you guys a little bit of what you have to ask if you're going to go after businesses. Yep, people do. I used to be a market researcher before I started my branding business. Yeah. And you know what? We're when we know better, we do better. So I really felt led to come on and share about this ideal client or customer, because I was talking to a former client, and she said, now that I'm clear on my client avatar, and that word, that phrase just really spoke to me, because I feel like there's a lot of people that are not clear on their client avatar. So once you get clear on your client avatar, or who your ideal client or customer is, then you're going to do better with your social media content. You're going to do better with your landing pages. You're going to do better with blogging. You're going to do better with creating products and services. You're going to just do better with a lot of stuff. Okay? So that's the benefit. And it's because we're changing. That's why I suggest that you do this activity frequently. We're coming out of, a COVID world. We're coming out of a quarantine. So that's one of the reasons why I would take a second look at my client, if you have an existing client avatar, and make some adjustments. There could be some things that have changed, and not necessarily for the worse, right? So before I get back to showing you guys some of the worksheets, so the first question I asked was, what does my client my ideal client look like? You ask yourself, what does your ideal client look like? And maybe this is a little bit easier for females, because back in the day, depending on how old you are, we used to have these things called paper dolls. And you have the paper dolls, right? And they would come blank. And the blank, hey Key, thanks for joining. They come blank, and then you would, you could dress them up. You can change their clothes. So this is kind of like the image I want to give you for creating, for visualizing what that person looks like. Look, Tracy Ross has a hair product for certain kinds of hair. There's a conditioner called Mixed Chicks, right? Now, a lot of people use it, but it was created for a certain kind of hair. So don't feel bad if you create something for a specific group, and you're niching your product or service. Then other people who are interested or curious will try it out. So, but your goal is to stay focused on that population. So second thing you want to ask yourself is, do I have more than one ideal client? And it depends on, right now, that depends on what kind of products and services you have. And I bet it's the same ingredients. Yep, I agree. Same ingredients, right? So, but I don't, because I don't know if we have any guides up here, or depending on if I leave this on replay. But even the bottle is for the target audience of the mixed kind of girl hair. So I'm talking about Tracy Ross more so than the mixed chick hair products. Do I have more than one target audience? I would say you do. I would say you have more than one target audience, and that's if you know anything about funnels, or you believe in funnels, then you might have an initial. This is kind of like I don't know if I can. I'll do it on this piece of paper. You might have something. This is a funnel, and like I said, I'm not teaching. This is a funnel. These are my notes for class. I just have my 4 questions, right? And you might have something where everybody gets in at the top, right? I like that. I like that in regards to a funnel because, I used to go to a lot of networking events prior to COVID. And one thing I kept in mind, because I was a really, really good networker, for females, they tend to be very timid, is that you always have to keep in mind that you don't know if the person you're talking to is related to your ideal client or customer. So, even if your ideal client or customer is a guy, have something that a female would be interested in at just a top or lower level. It could be free or it could be under $20. So do I have more than one target audience? That was the question we asked. So getting back to funnel, here is the level where your ideal client resides. Everybody, let me put this in. Everybody, somebody, I just needed that. I put E for everybody, S for somebody, F for few, and here is your sweet spot. That's your ideal client. Your ideal client, and if done right, your ideal client doesn't have to go all the way down the rabbit hole. They can go directly to your signature program, whether it's coaching, and that's why I started off the activity with what kind of client do I want? What kind of client do I not want? So that's for your ideal client. That's not for everybody. So for everybody, if you put, I don't want a client who questions my prices, then even if a lot of people get in at the top phase of your funnel, or if you have a freebie, or if you have a low level product, then you're not going to feel any kind of way if they don't buy your $14.97 coaching program. Why? They're not your ideal client. You don't care. You simply don't care. I hate to say it like that, but you don't care because they're not your ideal client. And you already say you don't want that kind of people. You don't want the kind of people that's going to be like, oh, that's too much. Ooh, you don't want those kind of people. So that's why the mindset activity is important before you even go and figure out what he or she looks like, what that company looks like. Okay, so my next question that you want to ask yourself when you're doing this activity. So now you know what they look like, and that will include some of their behaviors. 2, do you have more than one? So then that means you will have to do this activity 2 times or even 10 times. 3, you want to ask yourself, now what is this person buying from you? Now we had the example of Crystal. Crystal is, she makes $80,000. She doesn't have any kids. She's looking for something more. What will she buy from you? So of course now you're not going to write your social media post and be like, hey Crystal, no, but maybe it's a hey sis, hey boss, blah blah blah, and your messages is clear and concise towards your ideal client or customer. And anybody else that picks up what you're throwing down, that's fine. If they want, if they are interested in, paying for your product or service. What are they buying for you? Lastly, that you might have to create something, because maybe what you've created before, after you've done this activity, maybe what you've created before really doesn't what they would not be interested in it. So you might have to go and create something or adjust the product or service that you currently have. Lastly, the question that you want to address as you are doing this tool is what motivates that person to hire you to use your services. Okay, so I've been using Crystal and talking about resume writers. Right now I want to talk briefly about people in the home healthcare industry. So what motivates them to use you? Now, that's when you have to get into, thanks for joining, that's when you get them on the phone or you get before them. You have to be able to know them well enough from doing your market research or from just really knowing who they are as a customer. Like, this activity the experts use so you can know who they are as a customer. You can know their behaviors. You can know their buying habits. You can know what they will do or what they won't do. So what's going to motivate them to buy from you? Well, you can't just say, oh, because I prayed about it, right? Christian entrepreneurs. You can't just be like, oh, because I did all of this work. No, you would have to done something significant that made them say, hey, she must be reading my mind. He must be reading my mind. I just said that. I just talked about how I need to lose this mommy weight or whatever like that. Or I just talked about how I wanted to start a business because, I don't have the job security that they're talking about. So that is the trigger from identifying your ideal client or customer. And the experts use this tool of creating these what's called client avatars because it simply works. It works when you're doing your Facebook ads. It works when you're creating a brochure. It work like for my home care business, I have 4 different brochures. Guess what? Because those 4 different brochures are for 4 different target audiences. So you don't just have one. And I know that doesn't make any sense. Like, wow. And that goes back to question 2. Do you have more than one? So for me, I have a client. I have a referral source who's also a client because they're referring clients to me. So I have to market to them differently. Right? So I hope I did a good job of breaking down, a training that really is a little bit more concise. I really wish I could do this as a masterclass, but I've done it before. I have an hour-long training that includes the workbooks for how to attract your ideal client or customer, any industry, because at the time that I did that training, I was working with different kinds of aspiring female entrepreneurs, working with somebody in home care, working with someone who was in coaching, working with someone who was in multi-level marketing, selling candles. We working with someone who was a resume writer, working with a couple of female entrepreneurs who had different businesses. They all look differently. All of their clients look differently. And we did this activity and they were able to stop spinning their wheels on money producing activities. And like I said, target their ideal client or customer. If that's something you would be interested in, I would love for you to, this is what I'm going to do. Click the link in my Instagram stories. I'm going to leave it there. It's currently $14.97, right underneath $15. I just reduced the price because, like I said, it's a evergreen product. It's a product that is good all the time. And let me just show you guys this last thing before I go. Turn my computer back on. And this is what the business one looks like. And you get all of these worksheets, including the video. Now here, if you do business to business, or you want to start, then this business avatar is ideal for you. You want to find out, who the makers are, the number of employees, the three problems a business is experiencing. So that's just a glimpse of the business ideal client worksheet, and you get that with the pre-recorded training, and you can follow along. And you can also, if you have any questions about this, please feel free to send me a direct message and just say, hey, I just finished watching your training, and I want to get a little bit more clear on how to market my business, especially if you're in home care. I'm going to be including that in the social media training that we're doing. I'm just going to include the video for free because I don't have enough time during the master class to cover those 4 things. Like I said, this really helps when you're doing Facebook ads, social media ads. So if you guys have any questions, I would love to address them. If not, I'm going to be signing off. Again, this is a Savvy Business Chick, making sure that you know your purpose and destiny in the marketplace. I generated 7 figures in business within less than 2 years using techniques like this. And once I learned how to use these, I went to school for international business, and they never taught us stuff like this. So this is kind of like on the job training that you learn as a business owner. Hey, I don't care what kind of business degree you may have. There are a lot of schools that won't teach you how to be an entrepreneur. There's a lot of schools that won't teach you how to run a business. They teach you how to run somebody else's business. So don't feel bad if you have to take some additional training. It's okay. Learn so that your business can grow. I think people are ready to start making money and even spending money. And so hopefully they'll spend it with you. This has been Sean, the Savvy Business Chick, and thank you so much for watching tonight. What I said, I didn't see. Okay. And remember, guys, to check my Instagram stories for that link on that training for how to attract your ideal client or customer and leads. Okay. Bye.